Hello, my name is Maria Johanna Vargas and welcome to another lecture from the 2020 Honors Chemistry Short Lecture Series. Today, I'm excited to be presenting to you the following topic, marijuana chemical sensing. Have you ever wondered what components make up marijuana? Have you ever heard of a marijuana breathalyzer? For this lecture, I chose to research the chemical sensing of marijuana since I was inspired by a recent article I encountered regarding a new instrument that would help in the detection of cannabis with the usage of carbon nanotubes. A few key points we will be talking about are the composition of marijuana, THC and CBD, the composition of the breathalyzer, carbon nanotubes and their usage, THC detection with CNTs, marijuana consumption. First, we will be talking about the composition of marijuana, as well as a few major compounds it has. We all have an idea of where it comes from, but do we really know what its major chemical compounds are? There are 483 different identifiable chemical components known to exist in cannabis. The most distinctive and specific class of compounds are the cannabinoids, with a total of about 66 different types in cannabis. Other components of the cannabis plant include proteins, hydrocarbons, simple alcohols, and many more. Two major components are tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, the major psychoactive ingredient in marijuana, comprising up to 30% of the cannabis plant, and cannabidiol, or CBD, which is the second most popular and well-known ingredient in cannabis. THC doesn't naturally occur in its active form, but rapidly converts from THC acid when burned in a cigarette or heated in a heat-propelled reaction called decarboxylation by removing a carboxyl group from the THCA. All cannabinoids of the raw cannabis flower have an extra carboxyl ring attached to their chain. THCA has a number of known benefits when consumed, including having anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective qualities. THCA is not intoxicating, but must be converted into THC through decarboxylation before any of its effects can be felt. THC works by binding with receptors, mostly in the brain, that control pain and mood. That's why THC can make you feel euphoric. CBD doesn't cause that feeling, but instead it works with other elements in the body linked to the feeling of well-being. CBD and THC have the same chemical formula, but the difference lies in the way the atoms are arranged. That gives CBD and THC different chemical properties that can affect the body differently. Both CBD and THC work with receptors that release neurotransmitters in your brain that can affect things like pain, mood, sleep, and memory. The difference between recreational marijuana and medical marijuana is that one has a larger percentage of THC, exactly 35%, while medical marijuana has a higher CBD, which acts as an antagonist to THC. A team led by a professor at the University of Pittsburgh, Alexander Starr, developed an instrument capable of measuring THC, the psychoactive compound in marijuana, from a user's breath. We will now talk about the breathalyzer that was highlighted in the article, as well as a few key materials used. The instrument was assembled with various materials which were either 3D printed or acquired specifically for the prototype. A few materials that were used are single-walled carbon nanotubes as semi-resistor sensors, a 3D printed case, machine learning algorithms, an open-source Arduino platform, as well as other minor components. The breathalyzer was tested with selectivity toward THC over more volatile breath components such as CO2, water, ethanol, methanol, and acetone, which were released from a bubbler as an example of human breath and were delayed by a sensor reader to allow for the desorption of these compounds from the semi-resistor surface, allowing for it to detect THC. We will now talk about one of the major components of the instrument, which is in charge of detecting the THC from human breath. First discovered in 1991 by Sumio Iijima, single-wall carbon nanotubes are the key to the detection of THC. Carbon nanotubes are cylindrical molecules that consist of rolled-up sheets of single-layered carbon atoms with a diameter of less than 1 nanometer. Like their building block graphene, CNTs are chemically bonded with sp2 bonds, an extremely strong form of molecular interaction. This feature, combined with carbon nanotubes' natural inclination to rope together via van der Waals forces, provide the opportunity to develop ultra-high-strength, low-weight materials that possesses highly conductive electrical and thermal properties. Just like graphite, they are highly chemically stable and resist virtually any chemical impact unless they are concurrently exposed to high temperatures and oxygen, a property that makes them extremely resistant to corrosion. We will now talk about the process of how the breathalyzer detects THC, how CNTs were proven to be the best choice when wanting to detect cannabis. The detection is made when THC from human breath containing marijuana residue comes into contact with the carbon nanotubes, who will send an electric current to a machine learning algorithm that will later conclude whether the person has come into contact with the substance or not. During the trial runs, the machine learning algorithm was tested to see with what accuracy the recovery portion of the sensor traces could be classified as containing THC vapor. Selectivity toward THC over ethanol, acetone, and humidity was achieved by focusing on the recovery portion of the chemiresistor sensing sequence, at which point the more volatile compounds had deabsorbed from the chemiresistor surface at a faster rate than THC. To demonstrate the full potential of the use of CNTs, THC analytical standards and captured breath samples from a volunteer were analyzed using the instrument and compared to a mass spectrometer. The difference in relative response and relative recovery from the THC sensing data and the blank air data indicated that THC vapor was likely being delivered to the chemiresistor. We have finally reached our very last key point. We will now be talking about the consumption of both recreational and medical marijuana, as well as their usage. As points of view are evolving, marijuana consumption has increased, as well as its marketing as a normal ingredient to be added to all types of products. You may have heard of the new cannabis-infused makeup or new THC candies everyone seems to love. Marijuana-infused products are a rising trend, with many products being released such as baked goods, beauty products, candies, and e-cigarettes. As of today, there are various ways cannabis can be consumed or even used, may it be through a new body lotion with healing benefits or a cannabis prescription for multiple sclerosis. Medical usage of marijuana is increasing, with many doctors taking advantage of its healing properties, using it to treat spinal cord injuries, cancer, and insomnia. Marijuana has many usages, but it is up to us to decide with what consciousness we utilize it. In conclusion, the two major components in marijuana are THC and CBD, which are the compounds that differentiate medical marijuana from recreational. With the help of single-walled carbon nanotubes, the breathalyzer was capable of detecting whether a person has come into contact with cannabis. The instrument was also able to separate THC from other breath components, and carbon nanotubes' chemical and physical properties both helped in the detection of THC.